All right, we are live. So this is the post-game show where we've had a night to rest and a whole day to reflect on the miserable game that was the Monday Night Football game. I'm your host, Mike Killey. That's my Twitter handle up there. My dad is with me at browniepost_Dan. Dad, how's it going?
It's going good, Mike. How's it going with you?
Not bad. Today was kind of one of those just bad, ugly days, you know. After a Browns loss, it's never a fun time or anything like that. But, you know, I think now that we've had a little bit of time to reflect, I think the thing that I would say is for all the Browns fans that are out there that are, going nuts on Freddie and Baker and the team, everybody's just got to take a couple steps back off the ledge. Just come back off the ledge here. We're 2-3, okay? We're 2-3. We're in second place in the division. The division's still very much in our hands. We're playing the very difficult part of our schedule with a young team that is injured. We are traveling. We are playing primetime games. This is not a recipe for simplicity, okay?
Well, I think I agree with you, except for the fact that it's a difficult part of the schedule, and we could accept losses, good losses, and play hard, lose. The last team that has the ball wins, that type of thing. We don't lose on a turnover, bad play, but we're playing bad. Granted, we played great in the Baltimore game, maybe a little bit better than I expected, especially towards the end, that last fourth quarter. But even if we played a mediocre team, we probably would have lost with what we put up, last night. We're just not playing well, and that's a concern, and that's what everybody's disappointed with, this roller coaster of a decent game against the Jets, although we should have won that handily, without any question because of their quarterback, and then a good win with we played the Rams okay, but not great, and with a chance to win it. We could be undefeated, but we're not, and we're not even close, and that rages the speculation for who's going to show up next Sunday.
Yeah. Well, if you really think about it, the Tennessee Titans could very well be a playoff team. But let's just say they're not. Okay. So we lost to a non-playoff team. We beat a non-playoff team in the Jets. We lost to the Rams, who are a playoff team, and we lost to now San Francisco, who very much looks like a playoff team. Okay. And then we beat another playoff team with the Ravens, who are, by all accounts, considered still a top-tier team in the NFL. So, and this is still early on in the year. Now, are there things that we can improve upon? Absolutely. Are there reasons, or do the fans are they justified in being able to be frustrated a little bit? I think so. Because we went into the season with all the hype and all the excitement coming off of the season last year where we almost made the playoffs, coming off of that 0-16 year. I think that this fan base just wants to be a winner so bad. So I think that's a little bit that plays into it. We fishing with Phil. Do we even have to talk about this today? Let's forget it and move on.
Yeah, let me correct the mistake that I made last night when we did our post game show. I incorrectly said that on that big play, the 80-yard run, that it went on the left side against Myles Garrett, but it didn't. I looked at it again today on the tape, and Myles was on the right side of the 49ers lineup.
Yeah.
And 54, who is Olivier Vernon. He was the one, really the culprit who misplayed it.
Swift.
Along with the linebacker. So I wanted to correct that for the
Yeah.
the record. And I went back over some of the tape
Yep.
this morning because I had time. And one of the things that stuck out, in addition to what we talked about last night, and all the things that people are harping on today with the talking heads and all of our fans and everything, is the fact that with 8 minutes to go in the game, in the third quarter, we're down 28-3. They had just scored that opening drive, which they ran down our throats, and there's no 2-minute drill. There is no sense of urgency. And they're just coming to the line, throwing, huddling up. I mean, if you had any intention of getting back into the game, you have to protect the clock, and you have to score as quickly as you can. Not so much with the deep passes, but just getting to the line of scrimmage, throwing a 10-yard pass, throwing an 8-yard pass, throwing a 5-yard pass, minimizing the runs except for maybe draw plays and when you see the opportunity because they're not rushing you. But there was no sense, I didn't get a sense in looking at the tape or even last night that there was any certain sense of urgency. And the reason I bring it up is that you only get so many opportunities to do a 2-minute drill. And for no other reason, practice it and throw it into a live situation so that you get one or two or three of them. We could have done 2-minute drills the rest of the game. It would have made sense to do that. And if it didn't work, all right, fine. What do you got to lose? You're losing already. You're getting killed 28-3.
Right.
So get yourself and get into a situation where you can kick a field goal. They're going to run the ball, so they're going to try to use up the clock. So then you're going to get the ball back again, and then do a 2-minute drill. If we had scored a couple of times using that 2-minute drill, we would have put the fear of God into them.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, but that never materialized. And I don't blame Baker for that. I mean, I blame the coaching staff for that. They're just not. They're trying to think out of the box with these trick plays, but there just comes to certain coaching decisions that I think Freddie is. I don't know if he's preoccupied because he's trying to call the plays, but somebody's got to be talking about the strategy, overall strategy. So that was disappointing. And then the other point that came up today a couple of times, and maybe even came up in Freddie's post game, was they got to keep it simple. They got to keep these plays simple. Some of the people are getting out there. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what side they're on. They have to be moved. That takes time. Then your linemen are already in their stances, waiting for Baker to do something. And then the chances are they forget the snap count. They get antsy. The defense is moving around. You're taking too much time.
Yeah.
And they even said maybe we're putting too much on the players. They're making the plays too complex. He's got a big wrist thing that's got all the plays on it. And I don't know if you noticed, but there were times where he was actually walking up to the line of scrimmage and he was still looking at his wristband to either get some kind of information. Something obviously wasn't clear. Why would you look at the wristband if you already called the play in the huddle? There's no reason to do that other than maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty, or maybe he's trying to think, well, maybe I want to switch the play, and therefore I have to know how to switch it to whatever.
Yeah.
But they have to simplify it, especially when these guys haven't played. Like Callaway hadn't played in 4 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it was, and you throw him out there, and then you start moving him around, and I don't know. I think they have to get back to keeping it simple. Not as many complex plays, and not as many trick plays either. So
yeah,
my observations.
I think those are fair. I'm still a little bit annoyed by how we've gone and done the taking the ball at winning the toss and taking the ball. There's some people that were arguing with me on Twitter, and I'm like, you don't know anything about football if you think that's a smart move. I mean, it's just not something that you should ever do. And so I think that, especially in an away game, I just think it's I think it's naive to think that you're going to be able to go down on primetime games or just in general in somebody else's stadium and just walk in and score points like that, right. And then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage both from the wind and not understanding what's going to go on in the second half of the game. So it and the other thing that's really been annoying to me is it just seems like at the end of the first half it's like we let them score at the end of the first half, and then they get the ball back again. That is a momentum swing. There's psychology that gets brought into it, and it just seems like they can go down, score, and then be like, "Hey, this is awesome. We get the ball. We get to take a break, and we get the ball right back in the start of the second half." He's got to stop doing that. Like it frustrated me.
I think that'll be the last time we see that. I think if he wins the toss and gets the decision. I will be shocked if he takes the ball in Cleveland against Seattle. I think, and somebody else made the observation, the offense wasn't doing that good.
Yeah.
So why put the pressure automatically and give them the advantage by go 3 and out, even though, Odell threw that pass and it wasn't exactly a 3 out, but it was a 4 and out.
Yeah.
And the other comment was, it was a valid one, I guess. You're losing 28-3. You're at almost the 50-yard line. It's 4th down. Why don't you go for it? I mean, it's only 10 yards. It's not like it was 4th and 20. Yeah, and again, they keep trying to throw the 15 to 20 yarders when you can throw an 8 and get a first down and keep the.
Yeah, because if you look at it, you're down 25 points. What's the difference? Right. I mean, does he just, on paper, not want to get embarrassed any more than that and have them come down and score another touchdown, something like that? If you make it, you make it 28-10, and then somehow from a miracle get another, get 2 more breaks. I mean, we gave him the ball. They got giant breaks on it. That 14-point swing was pretty bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was literally the end of the game. When we went down 7-0, I was like, this isn't good. This doesn't feel right. And then when we had the 14-point swing, thanks to Callaway kicking the ball up in the air, he had to have felt horrible flying back to
it must have been
to Cleveland.
Terrible flight, and it would have been interesting to listen or participate, be a fly on the wall when they went through that tape of all the missed either block or assignments or penalties or missed opportunities.
Yeah.
That you see right in front of you, missed tackles that led to first downs for them to keep drives alive. It must have been really tough to go through that tape review. Hopefully they learned something from it and they gleaned something from it and said, okay, we're not going to do that again. And I think, maybe, one more significant loss with play calling being an issue. I think Freddie's got to consider concentrating on running the whole game and the strategy and the clock management and everything else, rather than keeping his head right into the playbook and evaluating. Hey, should we try something different? Should we change it up? No real change as a result of the halftime and whatever they talked about at halftime, because it didn't change. They didn't really come out motivated.
Yeah,
it's just a bad game from start to finish.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Seattle, because if Seattle comes in and smacks us around like San Francisco did, I think you're going to see more people start to inch even closer to the edge. Right. That will be somewhat of a panic, but I mean, honestly, getting two wins was the minimum we had to have to keep this season alive by the Patriots game, right? 3 wins would have been optimal. Being 3-3 going into the Patriots would have been great, because these 3 wins early are going to pay major dividends later. So this Seattle game, if Seattle will, if the same thing that happened to the Browns in Tennessee, the same thing that happened to the Browns in San Francisco, in those 2 games happens to Seattle, we win the game. Everything that went wrong, or that could have gone wrong, went wrong. Just like in Baltimore, the same thing happened to them. Everything that could have gone wrong, drop passes, the guy catches a wide open pass, his foot is on the white line, giving up giant plays to Nick Chubb. Everything that could go wrong for the Ravens went wrong, and we ended up just wiping the floor with them.
One of the guys in the chat, or a couple of guys in the chat, are pointing out about your mic.
Yeah.
They're saying that your mic is hot, or it's peaking, or something.
Is it cracking out?
I don't know. You look at the chat and see what.
Okay, I just turned it down a little bit. So.
Yeah, Seattle's going to be key, as I talked about last night before we got cut off, and maybe we should explain to the 28 guys that are in chat and 28 or 6 that are watching that you lost power at the house, and that's why we went.
Yeah, it wasn't that I just was frustrated. I was like, screw it, I'm out. No, right. Yesterday we're in the middle of it. I was in the middle of making a point, and my monitor stayed on and my computer stayed on because I have a battery backup on my monitor and computer, but all the lights went off, and I was like, what is going on? I just thought there was something. I thought like just my computer locked up. And my mouse wasn't working, like nothing was working. And I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then I went outside and I looked, all the lights in the house were off. And I looked down at my street and all the lights in the street were out. And I was like, great. Just in the middle of a live stream.
Was it a weather thing or?
No, it's just a Orlando thing, apparently.
Anyway, that's why we didn't finish last night.
Yeah, good point.
I think we were done anyway at that point. So.
Yeah, a little frustrating. To say the least yesterday.
The other big controversy that's getting bannered about all morning and all afternoon was Baker's refusal to shake, Sherman's hand,
which was refuted. They have video evidence of him shaking Sherman's hand. I don't know what Richard Sherman's trying to do. Did he not think that people are gonna actually have videotape of these things, or did he forget that he shook his hand?
Right, I think he did.
What an idiot!
Yeah, that was not a cool thing to bring up, especially when there's video evidence of him, clearly shaking his hand when he was
right.
He didn't do a lot of chit chat. Maybe he didn't even make eye contact or whatever, but he clearly shook his hand. And I don't know, after the coin toss, a lot of times they shake hands again and go to the sidelines. Maybe he didn't do it then, and that's what he was referring to. But clearly, Baker's not that type of guy. Unless somebody's really done something nasty to him. But I don't think he had any real history with Sherman. So.
No, and the other thing that they were all saying was like the the Nick Bosa thing where he did the flag when he sacked Baker, which
that was
I get it. I get it. I think it's a little bit petty of Nick Bosa to do that. I mean, he must have been holding a big grudge. Dude, you got spanked in college. Let it go. But if he wanted to make his point, he made his point. And, just like all the guys when they would sack Manziel and they would do this, the money sign to mock Manziel. And it's like, look, that's just what it is. So it's like Matt C. What the hell do we do with this fan base? Talk ourselves into playoff expectations, then flip on a dime to wanting to get rid of Mayfield. There's anybody who wants to get rid of Mayfield. If you're in that camp, you're ridiculous. And go look at Peyton Manning's first couple seasons. Go look at John Elway's first couple seasons. Go look at Steve Young's first couple seasons. Right? These guys. I mean, Peyton Manning had so many interceptions. He had way more interceptions than maybe any other quarterback in history, and he turned out to be pretty darn good. So
it's just unfortunate that Baker's throwing them in sometimes in critical situations. In the Rams game and in the red zone. Those are terrible interceptions. You're on the 14-point swing as a result of what happened there. Not totally Baker's fault by any means, but
it's really hard to blame the quarterback if you're a quarterback. A lot of times people, when they see what was low, or It wasn't perfectly right in stride. What they have to realize is it's not like you're playing catch with these guys. You have big, huge offense and defensive linemen, sometimes linebackers that are in your way. You have to find lanes to throw the ball. And if a lane...
They didn't move Baker at all. When he got sacked in the pocket. Very few times did he move to his right off the get-go, or move to his left. They obviously, if those big guys put up their hands, I know he got knocked down once. Did he get knocked down more than once on a pass?
Yeah, he had a couple knockdowns.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's these offensive linemen are getting bull rushed back right into Baker, and it makes it very difficult. If you've got a 7-step drop, or you're waiting for your wide receivers to develop the play,
right.
The Browns have got to come to the realization that they do not have an offensive line that is going to consistently give Baker Mayfield enough time to sit back and read what's going on.
Right.
They don't have the time to do it.
And a couple of times he scrambled to his right or to his left. He wound up throwing on the run. He didn't set himself to throw. And a couple of times he had the time. There wasn't somebody who was on his back. And that led to bad throws, incomplete passes. So he didn't have a very good game. There's no way you can put any kind of spin on that. That was the way it is. And hopefully he won't have, 2 in a row. He'll learn. He'll get better. Hopefully they'll have a good game plan against Seattle. They don't have a lot of time to prepare, although somebody probably knew this game was coming up and did a preliminary even before the 49ers game.
Yeah.
They saw him, on TV. So I watched them. I know what Seattle is going to do, and they're going to put 8 people in the box, and they're going to stop that run, and they're going to force Baker to make some throws, and they're going to create one-on-one blocking right at the line of scrimmage. So if somebody misses a block or somebody doesn't pick up, they're going to be in Baker's face. So if he doesn't do those 3-step drops, and if he doesn't do one of these 3-step drop, fake to Odell, stop and go, throw it downfield, if nothing else, just to scare the hell out of them.
Yeah.
And make them at least back off a little bit, so then the next 3-step drop, the guy is not right on, Odell's back or on Landry's back, forcing the ball down. And it when you do the 3-step drop too, it stops the linemen from putting up their hands, because they're still in the process of coming forward. It's only when they stop and they realize they're not going to get to the quarterback for whatever reason, that's when they start to put up their hands, because that'll force Baker to adjust.
I used to love doing 3-step drops when I was in high school. It was great. You basically have 2 reads. You've got whatever the slant and whatever the out pattern is. You just read what the defense is doing. They're playing you up tight, you're probably going to have the slant open. If they're playing off, you're probably going to have the out route open. It's so much easier to do that. Plus, if you've got a running back there with you, he can bump somebody, and then if for some reason both aren't there and you can't throw it hot right away off a 3-step drop, you can always dump it off to your running back, and you got something there. But I think that's the other thing. This offense has got to shift to giving Baker some option to dump the ball off when he's in trouble. He is always looking downfield, and I think that the root of what is going on with the Browns right now all starts at the offensive line. I can't name another playoff caliber team ever who has had a bad offensive line. Greg Robinson is terrible. He might be the worst left tackle in professional football right now, and that's saying a lot.
And the irony is, we went from the best left tackle for 10 years plus,
yes,
to having a very mediocre, every other play you're worried about whether he's going to make the right block or not.
We're putting 2 tight ends on one side. We're putting a running back there as well. Nobody can block anything. And it all starts with Greg Robinson. If Greg Robinson was a competent left tackle, he'd be okay. I don't know if they're thinking about I was listening to Quincy Carrier. He was saying maybe we need to put Bitonio over there. Joel Bitonio, if he could just be average, it gives us a shot. But Joel Bitonio is he's a guard. We need to go out and get help at the offensive line. After we got rid of Zeitler, it went from an okay offensive line to a bad offensive line quickly. Right. And that is going to be the Achilles heel of this season.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, now that I think about it, you haven't seen or heard from Dorsey in, I don't know, quite a while. I mean, usually he was the face of the Browns. He was doing something. He was mixing it up. He was letting players go. He was acquiring players. You haven't heard one word from him through this whole process of the Rams game, this game, the Baltimore game. He's a general manager.
Sometimes he is a more vocal and visible general manager. But Fishing with Phil in the chat says, "Where's Austin Corbett? Is he injured or something?" No, he's just bad. He is just. I think we can blame a lot of the problems we have in this offensive line on also Austin Corbett. He's a guy that was drafted in the second round last year and hasn't done anything to smell the field. We've got guys like Cush and Weber out there, and these guys aren't killers. I do Treader. I'm fine with Treader. I'm fine with Bitonio. Everybody else we might as well not have guys out there.
Yeah, Hubbard has come along a little bit as well.
Cush just getting penalties every damn game.
Yeah, I mean the penalties, a couple of them hurt us, but I just thought, not hearing from Dorsey, obviously not involved in the game plan or any of that, but just thinking that he would be doing something behind the scenes to get a player the caliber of Williams from Washington.
Trent Williams.
Yeah. I mean something along those lines. You see other teams picking up players. They're signing players, or they're promoting players. So I mean, there are people out there, and I'm sure there's teams that are willing to entertain some.
Trent. Here's the thing. Trent Williams is 31 years old. If we pay and he's holding out from the Redskins because he wants to get paid. This isn't a guy that we can get on the cheap. We are going to have to trade something for them, and with the Redskins, it's all going to be draft picks.
Right.
And maybe we don't know, but maybe conversations are going on. There's an article on Cleveland.com right now that says Browns John Dorsey needs to consider trading for Washington. Who wrote this? All right, first of all, let's find out.
Yeah, but that's
Ellis Williams.
That's been circulating for a while, and maybe they want too much for him, but he would be a plug and play individual. So it's not a question of would he work out? Is it an upgrade or not? I mean,
he's 6'5", 320, seven-time Pro Bowl. He is a playing version, as close as you can get to a playing version of Joe Thomas.
Right.
Okay? We add Trent Williams, there's a whole new conversation. Everything changes. And if John Dorsey's not looking at this, not looking to do it, but I mean, if you look at what Minka Fitzpatrick, what it took to get him, what other guys like Amani Cooper last year, these guys want an arm and a leg for these guys, and I just don't think that we should have to pay that much for a 31-year-old offensive tackle. How many years is he going to give us? 2? 3? If we're really lucky, 3. And then is his play going to drop off as well?
Right.
Maybe it buys us enough time, though, to find an offensive tackle in the draft. And then maybe pull in another one. Because we need to rebuild this offensive line. This reminds me of the offensive line in the early 90s Browns, when everybody retired after the 80s. and Kosar just got destroyed.
We can't sit there and do nothing, I don't think, for the rest of the season. We have to do something, and it's a question of do you trade for the short term, or do you trade for the long term, or do you sit and deal with the players that you have? Did Corbett play at all in the game?
No.
He sat
I saw him on the sidelines. He looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy. He just sits there and he just looks like a chubby bench player. Corbett is not going to be a Cleveland Brown next year. He's gone. I think the only reason why they're keeping him is because he's relatively cheap. But he's gone. He can't get in the field. He can't get on the field. He's not going to be on this team. But give the Redskins Corbett and a draft pick. Give him a third-round draft pick. Something. Because if coming out of this, like you said, if we don't do anything and we're running into this, we could be looking at 8-8. We could be looking at 7-9. Mm-hmm. If we bring in Trent Williams or somebody close to that caliber, we're back to the 10-6, 11-5. Now we're talking type thing. But it is
maybe Dorsey's waiting for teams to go through the process of eliminating themselves in the first 6 to 8 games, and then after the bye and after the Patriots game, there's teams that are statistically eliminated, if not already eliminated,
right,
and that want to start thinking about rebuilding the following year and getting a draft pick out of the Browns, who may still be in contention, and all the more urgency to bolster that line for any type of run we would make towards the division or towards the playoffs.
Well, I hope that Dorsey is on the phones, considering we have a Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman. That is the biggest hole we have. We have cap room. Even if it's just a Band-Aid for the year, because here's the other problem, okay? As much as Baker's being hit, it's not just his psyche and him affecting him mentally and stunting his growth mentally, the fact that he doesn't have time. At some point, he's going to get hit, and somebody's going to roll on his leg. He's going to get hit like Mason Rudolph did, where he just gets knocked out. And at that point, you can't then trade for Trent. It's over at that point. You've already made the mistake. If you bring him in now, he doesn't have to play against Seattle, but then he's got a week to get ready in the bye week, and then you got the Patriots. Yeah. So it's the time to do it.
Right. And if you change the passing philosophy to the 3-step drop a lot, you don't have to do it every time, but do it more often than not, so that it takes Baker is a rhythm type of player and passer. You give him that ability to do the 3-step drop and throw it and stay in rhythm and get everybody back up the line of scrimmage quickly, and then do it again or fake it, that type of thing. One, you're protecting him. He's not going to get sacked badly.
And he gets a little rhythm. He can get 3 or 4 passes connected. And that's a thing for quarterbacks. If you hit 3 or 4 passes in a row, you know that. You feel that. You're like, all right, I got a little streak going here.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely. And we got the home game, so that will excite the fans.
Yes.
We'll have them screaming, and not at us, but they'll be screaming at their offense. So we'll have that slight advantage of the home field. So it just makes sense to do those things. And I'm sure Kitchens is giving it consideration. I mean, these are smart guys. They've earned their stripes for the most part. They've been around. If we can pick it up or we sense it, they're thinking about it back and forth. So
yeah, I agree.
You just have to hope that we see some of the results and that we see some changes next week, and we don't repeat the same things all over again.
We need a home win. Yeah. We need a home win really bad. We need a game. I think this is how it's going to go down. I think we're going to play Seattle tough. We might be able to squeak out a win. technically possible. After week 8, when we get to the Broncos games, and the schedule starts lightening up, when we get into deep November and into December, we're going to think back, because I think the Browns are going to be playing. They're going to be playing on all cylinders. We're going to have our players back. We're going to have Kareem Hunt. We'll have Njoku. We'll have Greedy. We'll have Denzel. All these guys will be back, right? Our playmakers will be back on top of that. And we're going to think back and go, do you remember the Titans game? Do you remember the 49ers game? Like how disappointing those games were. And I think they're going to be distant memories. So I think any Browns fan right now who wants to jump off the train, you are crazy. Anybody who wants to get rid of Baker, you're crazy. I still think it's too early to ditch out on Freddie. I think Freddie's got I think he's willing. I think he's has the ability to make the adjustments, and he's going to. But it starts at that offensive line, and hopefully John Dorsey, there's conversations going on. Like, John, get me somebody who can protect me. Right. Because this is the recipe is now set. If you want to beat the Browns, stack the box and bull rush, put a lot of pressure. We didn't get any pressure on Garoppolo. I'm sitting there, I'm like, where is our pressure?
Yeah, they did everybody up on the line of scrimmage late in the fourth quarter.
And they threw it right in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they walked through the line. Now, granted, the game was over and nobody was trying to do anything, but I remember seeing that in the preseason games where they knew that if they put a lot of pressure quickly, the quarterback would either have to make a mistake or he'd have to eat the ball, one or the other, because they couldn't block everybody that was coming. We didn't do any of that. We rushed 4 guys.
And they got blocked.
And we got blocked, and therefore Garoppolo had the time in the pocket to pick us apart.
He had two. When he hit his last step, he had a good second or two to evaluate what was going on and then deliver a ball. And with our zone scheme defense, you're going to have holes.
And he missed a couple of guys. Otherwise, it would have been worse if he had hit a couple of guys. So I think we made them look much better than they.
Just like the Titans, the same thing. We made them look like the next greatest thing in the world, and I don't think they're as good as we made them look.
When you have a team that you both play well, the game is going to be close and it's going to be give and take back and forth. When you have a team that plays lousy like we did, and you have a team that plays good like the 49ers did, they didn't make any mistakes. They took advantage of just about everything. There was
the only thing that they had a couple missed field goals, and they had the block field goal that we couldn't even convert.
Right.
After that.
So there's going to be a wide disparity in terms of how how that game is evaluated, and we made them look. They earned it. They played well.
Yep.
And they beat a team that was and still is a contender. So it wasn't a walk in the park for them. It was a home game, and they played well, and they deserved to win. I'm not trying to take anything away from them.
Right.
But we made them look a little bit better than the 4-0 team that they are. Now they're talking undefeated, this, that, and the other thing. Now they're going to get beat, and they're going to get beat and brought back to earth.
Well, look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs got beat. I didn't think anybody was going to be the Chiefs this year. The Chiefs got beat. I mean, teams can get beat. It is really any given Sunday in the NFL, and I think that if you look at the Browns and you look at the games that we won, we caught all the breaks in the Jets game. We caught all the breaks in the Ravens game. And this game yesterday, it wasn't even like, well, we got a couple, they got a couple. It was they got everything. Right. And they capitalized on them too. They capitalized.
Weren't bad calls either. I mean, it was mainly, not exclusively, but mainly self-inflicted in terms of what we did. And they just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
We score a touchdown. If we score when it was 14-3, we score a touchdown to go 10-14.
Right.
Instead of that, we don't give up.
Right.
The game we do. It's a completely new game, and we don't give up. I think that at that point, when we gave up that 14-point swing, it was like, how quickly can we get out of California? We don't want to be here anymore. This game is over. We didn't have the ability to come back from that many points. We're too young to be able to say that we can do it. We just wanted to get out, and that's why he wasn't going for it on fourth down. He's like, I don't want to get embarrassed any more than we already are. let's just get out of here and not get injured. And luckily we got out and Baker wasn't injured or anything like that.
Right.
And now it is lick your wounds, move on.
They lost that fullback to that running play where our guy, took out the lead block and hurt him.
Yeah. Why did he take out the fullback? He blocked himself.
Right. He blocked himself. He should have put his hands up, tried to fend off the blocker as best he could, and force the runner even more to the inside and take a shot at the runner.
Yeah.
If nothing else, if you make him change directions, if you slow him up just slightly, you got a chance to stop him. No, that play went for 15 yards, 19 yards. So.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, hey guys, let's go ahead and do we lost the game, so we're going to do the keychain. All right, we're going to do a keychain giveaway. Everybody right now, give me a number. Type in chat a number between 1 and 100. We only got like 20 something people watching right now. So right now, go ahead. I'm going to say type in a number between 1 and 100, and when it looks like it slows down, we will give away the Browns officially licensed NFL keychain that has the Browns helmet over Ohio with a little star where Cleveland is. So go ahead and type in your number, and good luck to everyone. Now, Seattle is actually going to be really interesting. I think that this is going to be the turning point for the season. I don't think it's a must-win. The Ravens game was a must-win, absolutely.
Right.
The Ravens game was an absolute must-win, period. This one is okay, you might be really nice to win, but it's not necessarily critical.
Right. But we just have to play well. I mean, I can take losses, but when you, like you said, when you're embarrassed, when you don't play up to your potential with all the talent that we have and all the we have good coaches. I mean, they're just not pulling it off. And that's the disappointing thing when you got all that talent and you're not wasting it, but it certainly looks that way when you put up a goose egg. The way we did against the Titans and the way we did against the 49ers the other night. So that's the disappointing thing.
All right, I'm going to finish and I'm going to click the button now. Looks like we pretty much have all of our things in there. The number was 41, so it looks like Coral Ross is the winner. Coral Ross wins. Coral Ross, send me an email. BrowniePostGame@gmail. Send me a email, BrowniePostGame@gmail, with your contact information, and I will get this keychain. I could probably just put this in an envelope. It doesn't weigh that much, so I can get that out to you tomorrow. And appreciate it, guys. We are gonna wrap up this show today. As always, go to homage.com. who helps out, and they give us some cool stuff to give away. Go to homage.com and buy some stuff. Use the promo code Brownie. Anybody who's on here who has not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. We're doing our push to 3,000, getting a lot closer to that.
We're close.
Yep, we are growing every week, and if you don't hear from us till Sunday, we will have the pregame show and the postgame show on Sunday, because it's a Sunday 1 o'clock game.
Right.
So we will be live probably about 11 a.m. on Sunday, and then probably right at about 4 o'clock on Sunday, hopefully after a Browns victory, coming back from this humiliating loss in California. We owe the home team a good game, so hopefully that goes well.
That's for sure. That is for sure. All right. Thanks, Brownie fans, and go Browns next week.
Yep, go Browns.